go back to something that means something to me. It was way back in 2004. So we're looking at coming up on the 20th anniversary of my high school graduation. Yes, I'm that old. I know. Yeah. I know. But in that time period, for that particular event, my high school graduation, I had a little party to celebrate this. My parents had gathered a bunch of my buddies together, gathered a whole bunch of the crew together, and we all went to a China buffet. I think it was called Uncle Wok or something like that. Sound about right? I think Uncle Wok. I think that's what
that sounds about right, yeah.
And it was a brunch on a Saturday afternoon. So you had a bunch of friends come, a bunch of family, everyone came through. My mother did like a candles for me because growing up, a lot of remember? It's so weird. It's like, so basically, growing up, everyone I knew had a bar mitzvah or a confirmation or a sweet 16, where you typically would have the candles. Because I was by religion, my mother's Jewish, my dad is Catholic. So growing up, I was kind of in the middle. I never really had any of these things. So for my college graduation, my mother had kind of given out candles for each year of my life growing up as a student. So it'd be like 1 year, a candle for kindergarten, a candle for first grade. Pretty cool idea. And I thought it was interesting nonetheless. With that being said, and really what she did was she found a way to shoehorn every guest in. So you'd have like, here, kindergarten, here's all of, Tommy's friends from camp. Here, first grade, here's his aunt, whatever. Third grade, here's these random cousins I never met who for some reason were at the event, but they meant so much to me growing up. So you went through the whole thing, and it was fun. But somehow, at the end of this, as is, happened to me in my life so many times, did you get me tickets to this as my gift?
I don't remember.
I don't know how it happened.
20 years ago.
I know the idea came from you, where you were like, hey, there's a WWE show tonight at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if it was like my gift from you. Might have been. That makes sense. It might have been. But the thing was also we had more people coming with us. So I don't think we had tickets yet because I think we threw out the idea, hey, who wants to go to this to keep it going? And then that's when we brought some other friends with us to the show, and we all went kind of together.
I think at the very least, I may have paid for your ticket.
Maybe that was what it was.
I don't know if I don't know if I would have been the one to get these tickets.
Yeah. I think we must have gotten them at the show because we had people who were coming, and it was just a random 5 people is what happened. I think we threw out the idea, and I remember you saying, hey, I think you had to talk. I think you chatted with my mom because my mom's a very type person. They're like, yeah, hey, we have this event, and the event is from 12 noon to 3 o'clock. But then after that, we've got 1,000 other events at the house. We'll be together all night long and just keep the party going. I think you had actually spoke with her and said, hey, there's a WWE show at Madison Square Garden tonight. Is it cool if we go to it after this? So what a great surprise to me. And I love nothing better than a big surprise wrestling show out of nowhere. I remember I had, we kind of finished up the event. You were like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, I'm not too sure. And you said, well, I just talked to your mom. We're going to go down to WWE and at Madison Square Garden. And I was just, to the moon excited about that. What a cool idea. Then you informed me that some other friends of ours were going who I thought were some questionable choices of guests to join us because these were not our usual wrestling crew of buddies. But I was like, I'll roll with it. And so it was supposed to be 2 friends of ours who, unfortunately, we just lost a little bit of contact with. Myself, yourself, and our main man, James, who has been on a few different events with us. He's been on the channel here, Wrestling. And we were all set right afterwards to go to Madison Square Garden. We were going to go to so we went to Douglaston because one of our friends lived in Douglaston. And she had said she can get us discounted. She had a hookup with the LARR to get us discounted tickets to the LARR to go to Madison Square Garden. So we hopped on the railroad to go to MSG. And the discounted tickets were no connection she had. It's just you clicked on the city ticket instead of paying for an off-peak ticket, which was actually awesome. It was $5 each way, maybe even less, maybe $3.25 to get to on the LARR. And LARR was $7-8 at the time. So it was a great thing. And away we were over to Madison Square Garden. And, to this day, I'm not entirely sure why, but once we had gotten to Forest Hills, I guess, James realized that was his stop at the time to get off the train and decided to do just that. Away he went, got off the train. And that was the end of James for the evening. We did not see him at the show. He did not join us for the event, and that was pretty much the end of him.
And it wasn't the only time that he did it either.
Well, there were a couple, but that was the only wrestling one. But there were a couple other times too where if he wasn't feeling something, he was like, you know what, my name's Paul. That's between y'all, and I'm out of here. And so he got off the train, and it was just the four of us going. And at this point now, I'm like, even though I'm excited about it now, I'm like, we're 2-2. We've got two folks who really are excited about the wrestling show. We've got two folks who, probably gonna want to chit chat. Two girls who are just
there because it's something to do.
Right, just there because it's something to do. We're gonna, jump up and down. We're gonna, be into it, but we're not necessarily excited about any of the wrestling storylines. So I knew at this point, I was like, all right, hopefully we'll be able to still enjoy the show. I'm still excited we're going, and I'll be able to just kind of ignore them out if they start acting a fool, and if instead they're having a conversation about nothing to do with wrestling throughout the whole show, I'll try to balance it out. Any memories from attending that show with these two individuals?
I barely remember any of this. I'm looking at the card right now, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't remember that happening, or So I mean, I feel like this kind of a lot of it during this time period kind of blends and blurs together for me.
Well, and I think for me, the biggest thing I remember about the event is, this is still post WrestleMania 20. Chris Benoit is your world champion. Yeah. It's amazing to me that WWE has landed. I mean, MSG has landed this show 3 months after WrestleMania 20. Like the idea that WrestleMania took place at Madison Square Garden, and a couple months later they're right back at Madison Square Garden for another show is just crazy to me. But that's another reason it meant so much to me, the show, because it had really been an idea where I didn't get a chance to go to WrestleMania 20. I obviously really wanted to. You can go in the archives, hear my story about it. But we tried to go get tickets for WrestleMania 20, and right when I got on the line to go, we basically got to the front, and they did a raffle for everyone online. So even though we were toward the front, we somehow now got moved towards the back. Weren't able to go to WrestleMania 20. It's one of I have my pinnacle shows I wanted to go to as a kid that wasn't able to. It's SummerSlam 98, Rumble 2000, WrestleMania 20. Those are my trifecta of shows that I feel like I missed out on. And with that being said, you were at WrestleMania 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were able to make it. And I think at the time we had really, just started becoming close friends, I'd say, over the last year and a half, probably after, leading into, we knew each other for a couple of years, but I think we got close probably around like end of 2002 into 2003. So, you had gone with your cousins, and so that
during the Very Cody New Year's, I think that's when it cemented everything.
Right. Was Very Cody New Year's 2003 into 2004 or 2002 into 2003? I feel like it was 2002 into 2003.
I think that's when it was, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because you wouldn't have gotten such a pivotal spot on the candles if it was just a 6-month friend.
Yeah. No, so definitely before then.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, so that makes sense. So here we were on our way, and you have the card. And so the thing I remember most about this was that whenever Triple H was shown on the screen, the entire Madison Square Garden was probably remembering the days of WrestleMania 20, and we're a little excited about it, and we're giving the yell, "You tapped out, you tapped out, you tapped out," which was fine for the first couple of times. But the girls that we were with, as Steve gives another big thumbs up, you remember?
Yeah, I love that.
It's a cartoon animation on, and so, at the end of the day, it ended up that was something we did once, and it was fun. But the girls we're with were doing, "You tapped out" over and over and over and over, and it went on the whole show, and it was like, "You tapped out, you tapped out, you tapped out," and we were like, "All right, yeah,
I guess you find something and you stick with it."
Exactly. And main event of this show, I remember it being Benoit versus Triple H. So it was cool. It was harking back to WrestleMania 20, and I think Benoit won the match. Is that correct?
He did, via, of course, the crippler crossface, and he tapped out again.
And so, and tapped Hunter again at Madison Square Garden. So that's a cool little tidbit there. Do you want to run down the card real quick?
Sure. So we have the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. Rob Conway and Sylvain Grenier, or that was La Resistance, right?
La Resistance, of course, one of the all-time greatest.
Yep, defeated Rhino and Tajiri.
Ah, good team. Good team. Yeah. Don't remember them teaming ever, but good team.
Yeah, no, I remember that vaguely. Eugene pins Jonathan Coachman with the rock bottom and people's elbow. Moments after, William Regal countered the interference of Eric Bischoff.
That's fun. I mean, a lot of big names in there. I still cringe just thinking of Eugene hitting the rock bottom people's. But other than that, that's cool. That's a cool match.
Kane pinned Matt Hardy with the chokeslam.
I must have been pissed. I must have been hot, ready to get down and defend my guy, Matt Hardy.
And I think both of the girls that we were with also were Matt Hardy fans.
Matt Hardy fans. I do remember that.
The Hurricane and Maven.
What?
I don't remember being a tag team at all. Defeated Garrison Cade and Test, who I also don't remember being a tag team.
That had to be 4 random dudes in the back. Hey, get out there, get 10 minutes, and away we go.
Who wants a paycheck? Go.
Exactly.
We got Chris Jericho pinned Batista.
Wow, Chris Jericho. I guess so, because Batista was still in Evolution at the time, so he's still on the rise.
Yeah, we have WWE Intercontinental Champion Randy Orton pinning Edge.
Wow, good match.
And WWE Women's Champion Trish Stratus with Tyson Tomko, which I do vaguely remember now.
Because she went with Christian.
Yeah, pinning Victoria.
Interesting. And then the main event was Hunter and Benoit.
And Hunter and himself, yeah.
Wow, Hunter and himself. That's, I will say, Batista, Jericho, Edge, Orton, Triple H, Benoit. On a house show, Matt Hardy, Kane, solid house show for 2004.
I mean, those are a lot of big names, and they're even big names then. So
they really were pulling out all the stops for the Garden even back then. Interesting, Shawn Michaels isn't on the card. This is when he starts doing a little bit of his, he'd be around for the bigger matches, but would then take some time off. So I don't even think, come to think of it, I don't even think he's on SummerSlam 2004. And obviously this is in the summer of, right before the summer of 2004. So Benoit would eventually lose the title to Orton at SummerSlam. But really fun show.
What I think is interesting, this is random, not necessarily about the show, but I'm looking at the very next house show that was in Salisbury, Maryland. And it is the same exact card, same exact results down the line, with the exception of the Hurricane with Maven defeated Garrison Cade with Test. So it wasn't a tag team match. It was just they came out.
And 10 years after that graduation, for a fact, I would have been trying to get the crew together to push it one more night to get to Salisbury, Maryland for the next house show. That is so cool. And nowhere near each other either. Did they have to book the next house show at Salisbury, Maryland? They couldn't have done it in Philly or Connecticut.
The crazy thing is, it looks like that was a SmackDown, maybe something. Oh, wait, hold on. Or I'm getting kind of conflicting things here. It looks like it was a Great American Bash show.
Oh.
That was also that night, and this was the matinee.
Oh, wow. So they did the Raw during the day, and then the Great American Bash at night.
Yeah, so not
Great American Bash, I think, was
with a house show. It was also, according to this, they did all of this match, and then they would have had to, basically drive overnight to Maryland to wake up and do this as a matinee all over again.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So these are the results from June 26, 2004. Highly recommend the History of WWF Grand Cawthon site if you get an opportunity to check that out. So grateful that it exists, because if not, this is a random house show we don't have any memory of. And so living all these results really took me back into a very fun time. And so grateful that we're able to reconnect here on this 20 years later, and that we've remained friends all throughout. And yes, I did indeed think about contacting the 2 young ladies we were with and asking them to join us. We haven't spoken to them in many years. One of them I'd say in about 5 to 10 years. One of them in about 15 to 20 years. And I was going to call them and see if they wanted to join us right here on the Watching the Wrestling YouTube channel to break things down. This 20-year later house show that I got for my high school graduation. I don't remember much about my high school graduation. It was held at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. which I loved. But I don't remember too much about that high school graduation or high school in general. But I do remember that you gave me a gift of the WWE the same night as my high school graduation party. You don't get much better than that.
Nope, especially not in 2004.
Definitely not.